Hey there everyone, it's Jenna. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be styling some of my new vintage decor. And if you haven't seen my last video, I take you through some of my favorite antique and vintage stores and just point out some of those items that really will help to elevate your space and give it character. So if you haven't seen that video, definitely go check that out. That's kind of like part one. And this is now the haul portion. So I'm going to show you everything that I found at those stores and how I style them throughout my space. So hopefully you can get some fun decorating tips and inspiration. And these are typically the items that I like to invest in. These are the really unique pieces that are going to give my space that character and patina, and then I'll mix them in with more affordable finds. So these are really the statement pieces throughout my home, and I'm really excited to show you how I'm planning to style them. So without further ado, let's get into the haul. Okay, so the first thing that I found was this absolutely stunning wooden bowl. Now, I found this for $35 at Golden Oldies, which I thought was such a good deal. This thing is super heavy, and I love the slight distressing that it has and the beautiful handle details. Originally, I had kind of like a light gray wood one picked out, but then I saw this one because it was a little bit darker. I actually decided to swap it out for this one because we have a lot of lighter woods in our space. So our dining table is a lighter wood, and our coffee table, our countertop is a light marble. So I figured I'd get the darker one so that would add some more contrast and make my space look a little bit more dynamic and just make more of a statement when I'm styling items with this. And one of my favorite designers is Pure Salt Interiors, and I've seen them use very similar wooden bowls on a lot of their kitchen islands, and they just style some fruit or some vegetables in here. And I love how simple it is, but at the same time it's super impactful and just feels really natural and organic. So I thought that this would be a good piece to have on hand for styling on my island. I've also seen them use them sideways on shelves for shelf styling. So they'll pop it up on its side just to help add a different shape, which I think is really visually pleasing to the eye. But what I'm actually going to use this one for is over on our coffee table. Like I said, we have a lighter wood coffee table, so I figured by placing this on there, it would add a little bit of contrast, but still keep it feeling very earthy and natural because it's wood. And then I'm just gonna add a little mini olive vase that I got from Homegoods in there. And then our marble coasters. I always keep marble coasters on our table just to have them out and on hand just in case. And then I also recently got this really beautiful salt candle from Target. I love the ridge detail in it, and adding a candle to a little grouping just helps everything to feel a little bit more elevated and kind of spa-like. So I like to have a little neutral candle a lot of times just to help finish out a styling grouping. I love how this looks on our coffee table. It's super elevated. It helps to give that vintagey old world feel, but still looks really natural and not too distracting, and helps to give off kind of that Mediterranean relaxed feel to our space. Okay, so for this next item, it's definitely too big to show here, and I know I like to play the favorite games within these hauls, but this is truly, I can honestly say, my favorite antique that I have ever purchased. I'm just so excited about it. It is this gorgeous set of French shutters. These guys were a set of 4, and they were asking $2.98 for them. I did go up to the desk and ask if I could buy 2 of the 4, and the vendor ended up saying no, that I had to buy all 4. And it was like this big thing, and we were calling back and forth trying to get a hold of the vendor. I had them on hold for days, but ultimately they said no, and that they were only going to sell them in a set of 4, but I still love them so much, and I figured it was such a steal even at $300, just because I have seen very similar shutters online for like $1,500, $1,200, definitely over $1,000 for a set of 4. So the fact that I could get them for $300 was such a steal. They were in great condition, and something that I love about these is if you look closely, there are so many different layers of paint. I know these are so old. They said that they're probably from the 19th century. They were salvaged over in Europe, and I think that these just have so much character. I love the tone of the wood, and actually when I was there were a bunch of different ones to choose from. They had another set of 4, but those were shutters all the way down to the bottom. And I actually first was going to get those, but then I moved those around, and I saw that in the back they had these ones that had that really beautiful wood panel on the bottom half, and I knew that I had to get them. They truly encompass a lot of different design elements that I love in my space. They're old world, they have kind of like a laid back Mediterranean resort vibe, but they also kind of give off like a French European feel. I just love them so much. So what I thought I would use them for is over near our reading corner. I have talked about this so many times on my channel whenever I do the decorate with me's, but it really bothers me how big and blank it is. It's very white. We have 10-foot ceilings, so it just kind of feels like there needs to be something to break up that wall, and I've never been able to find something until now. So I'm going to put 3 of the 4 shutters there. I think that 3s just are a little bit more visually pleasing, and that's just me being super picky, but I think that odd numbers typically are a little bit more finished looking, I guess. I don't know. I just like groups of 3. So I'm going to put 3 of the shutters there, and what I actually thought would be such a fun use for them would not only be just to kind of break up that wall and add some character and depth to it, but I want to make it a little propagation wall. So I have these little propagation stations that I have on hand already. Like, I have them and I used them last year. And what I'm going to do is just take the little glass vials out of them and put some S-hooks onto the shutters and then tie them on there with twine, and then pop some basil clippings and rosemary clippings, so then I can have a fun little practical propagation wall that not only looks absolutely gorgeous, but it actually serves a purpose as well. So I think that that's such a perfect corner for it, right by the window, right by our reading chair, so I can kind of just read and relax, and then we have the beautiful propagation wall just in the background. I am obsessed with this find, and I'm just so excited about it. So you guys can let me know in the comments if you think it's as cool as I do. When I saw them in the store, I did have the propagation wall idea. That's initially what I thought when I saw those really long shutters. I just thought I could make the whole thing like a propagation wall, but I actually originally was thinking to use them out on my porch. But then when I saw the gorgeous wood paneled shutters, I was like, no, these need to be inside and they need to be a statement piece, and I know the perfect wall for them. So I'm so happy with this find, and they're definitely one of my all-time favorites. Okay, so the next thing that I found was this stunning olive jar. Now, I showed this in the shop with me portion. They had so many to choose from, and it was honestly very difficult to narrow it down, but at the end of the day, I just went with the one that I was drawn to at first. So this guy was $65. I love the coloring on it. I love the brown glaze and how the terracotta part of the pot just has that really beautiful patina on it, and this is just gonna add so much texture and character to my space. So if you follow my channel regularly, you know that I have been on like an olive pot kick. I just love these. I think that they add that really beautiful kind of laid back Mediterranean feel to your space, because these were originally used to hold things like olive oil, olives, and grains, things like that back in the Mediterranean. So I love that they have history, and they just help to add that layer of unique character to my space. I actually have one that I found at Homegoods. I actually have 2 that I found at Homegoods. I have a big one and then I have a little one, and I've shown those in past videos. I'm not 100% sure if those are actually vintage or if those are made to look old, but the fact that I couldn't tell I figured was good enough. But I'm actually going to go use this one on its own over in our bathroom, because our bathroom is very light and bright, and I wanted to add something in there that kind of warmed it up and had a little bit of personality. So I figured that this would be perfect. I'm going to style it with 2 wisteria stems that I got off of Etsy. They're actually very affordable, and I think that they look very lifelike. They just kind of look like you went outside and chopped some branches down. So it's just going to help give our space a very organic, down-to-earth feel, which I love. And then right next to it, I'm going to pop a little wooden handled bowl that I got from McGee & Co. and just pop a soap in it, so it feels a little bit more geared towards a bathroom, just kind of spa-like, but still really casual and earthy, which I love. Okay, so for this next piece, I'm kind of hanging my head in shame that I got it, because I literally stated in the video, I'm like, I do not need another one of these, and they're definitely a larger furniture piece, but I just have an obsession. So you know what, I got it and I'm happy about it, and I look at it and it brings me so much joy. So I did purchase another vintage bench, and before I purchased this one, I had 2 benches already. We have one in our primary bedroom at the foot of our bed, and it just helps to warm up the space and kind of give it that rustic feel. And then I have another one out in our living room, and I have it right behind our sofa, just because we don't have enough space there for something like a table, but this still helps to break up the chunky couch and just give a little bit of warmth and personality to the space. This one I'm actually going to put in our workout room. There's this wall that we have there that we don't really have anything on, and we don't have a lot of space for anything on it. So I'm just gonna put it down below our ocean frame artwork. So this way it will help to break up the space, add some of that warmth in there, some of that patina and pretty character, but it doesn't take up a ton of space. And that's honestly why I love these benches so much, is they are very versatile. They're great for those hallways where you don't have a ton of space, but you just wanna add something to help it feel a little bit more elevated and designer. These benches totally do that. So it's funny because I filmed the video, I did not get the bench. I was strong, I left, and then I could not stop thinking about it. And especially as I was editing the video, I'm like, dang, that's a nice bench. I wish I would have bought it. So I decided a couple days later, I was out in that area and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go see if it's there. And so I went, and of course, the whole booth was 20% off that day. I think it was like a President's Day sale. The original price of the bench was like $300, but then I got it for 20% off. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. I've seen them online for a lot more, especially on Etsy and things like that. So I took her home with me, and I'm very happy that she is now part of my antique collection. Okay, so I know I showed you all in the shop with me portion all of the beautiful marble bowls that Golden Oldies had. There were so many to pick from, and they were all in different shapes and sizes. So it was very difficult to kind of narrow down what I wanted, but these were the ones that I ended up picking. I first got this really beautiful oval, like smaller size, because I have a lot of bigger to medium size bowls, and I thought that this would be really pretty somewhere like a nightstand to put as a little catch-all for my jewelry, or I could use it to hold some soap in a bathroom, or it would just be really pretty to pop on a nightstand in a guest room. So maybe they could put their jewelry or just some little things that they need to put on the nightstand while they're visiting. And I just love the shape of it. This guy was $22. And then I did find this one as well. This one had a handle on it, which I really liked. And I'm actually going to use this one as just serveware, I think. So I have a lot of bowls for decor in my home, but what I thought this would be really pretty is just when I'm serving bread or scones or something like that, I would just lay a little linen towel in here and then put the scones in here to serve it. And that just looks so elevated and expensive, but really it wasn't. This guy was $28. That's very comparable to just a regular serverware price. So I thought that it was really cool that it's vintage, and on top of it, you all know that I think marble really helps to elevate the look of your space, because typically it is a very expensive material, but it's also a very classic material. So when you use it in your space, it helps to give your room a more earthy feel because it's made out of a natural material. It's not too distracting, and it just keeps things feeling really organic. Okay, so I mentioned in the shop with me video how I really like to stack some breadboards up against our backsplash to help add warmth and character to our kitchen, because a lot of times kitchens can be very cold with the materials that are in them, you know, stainless steel, metals, hardware, countertops that are kind of cold. So it's nice to have pieces that can warm up that space. So I did purchase another breadboard, and what I actually really liked about this one was its size. Typically whenever I'm shopping for breadboards, I can only find really large ones. So I liked that this one could fit, you know, under my countertop space, and it wouldn't be too big or overwhelming. So this guy was only $35, which I thought was such a steal considering that they sell these on Pottery Barn for like literally hundreds of dollars. So I actually got this just to use as decor. I love this little crack on here and all of the beautiful aging and detail that's on here. This patina is not something that you can buy new, and even if you buy a new one that's made to look old, it does not look this authentic. So I'm really happy with this piece. It helps to add that layer of character and texture to my space, and adding that contrasting brown in there just really helps the space to feel a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more warm, which I'm trying to add in little small ways by not totally redoing our space or redoing anything expensive, but just adding the accessories and the icing on top that helps to create and evoke the feeling that I want. So I was really excited to find this. $35 was such a steal and definitely a really good find. All right, everyone, that about wraps up the haul portion, but I did just want to touch on something because I noticed a lot of comments in the shop with me video like, oh my gosh, I would kill to have a place like this near me. And I can relate to those comments because when I moved to North Carolina, I thought the same exact thing. Honestly, I was just very discouraged. I had been to a lot of antique spots in my area and I just wasn't finding what I was hoping to find. So much so that I would see bloggers and YouTubers over on the West Coast where I used to live, and I would see them going through all of these amazing stores with everything that I wanted in them. And I even called one of those places and I had them ship something out to me, and I paid way too much for it. And I definitely regret it because had I just been patient and tried to explore my area a little bit more, I think I would have found those same things here. But it just takes a little bit of looking. It might not be in your immediate area. You might have to search like within a 2-hour radius and maybe just make a fun day trip out of it. Like for me, Golden Oldies is still an hour and a half away, but it just takes exploring and experience and trying out new spots. I've tried a bunch of spots that I didn't like. They were way too expensive. They didn't have a lot of things that I liked, but in that exploring, I found the places that I really like and that I'm sharing with you all. So I hope that you can do that in your area. Hopefully, if you do a little bit of searching and experimenting, you can find a really good spot near you where you can find those really pretty antique and vintage items that you could bring into into your space to add that same character. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this type of content, because it makes it so that I can keep making videos like this. And I hope you found some inspiration from this video. I know you can't buy these exact items, but maybe it gave you some inspiration as to what to look for or how to style your own pieces in your own space. Don't forget to subscribe. I hope you have a fabulous week, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!